is.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got his Aloha holiday shirt on. Way to go. Me, in all seriousness, I'm wearing black today in honor of the more than 320,000 folks who have perished this year in the United States, and almost 1,350 here in Oregon from COVID-19. So, but I should have instead worn something colorful and cheerful. So I think I've learned my lesson for the day, and from here on out, for the rest of the year, I'll wear something colorful and cheerful. So, and stop watching the news.
Yeah.
All righty, so we have everyone. So I'll call the Tuesday, December 22nd meeting of the Washington County Board of Commissioners to order. We have a full complement of commissioners. Thank you all for attending today. We have Vice Chair Dick Scouten in his last set of meetings. Commissioner Roy Rogers, Commissioner Pam Treese, and Commissioner Jerry Willey for the audio recording. Slightly different format today, but it's not on the agenda. But first, I wanted to check in to see if there's anything commissioners had announcement-wise or things to share.
I do have a few things, but we can either do them at the very end, or I could go through a few things now if you like.
Why don't we go through them now, because we have an executive session later.
Okay. Well, first of all, just a couple of things. I'm finishing up some loose ends I wanted to make the board aware of. One is that I will provide the board with a sort of a summary of 2020. An update of impact, what happens so we can make that transition to the next board with respect to impact. Number two, I will finish up my review for the Clean Water Services Chief Executive Officer. Number three, I'd like to do a final review, wordsmithing with respect to the County Council job description before the end of the year. And just so everyone knows, I finished up cleaning up my office, cleaning out my Hillsborough office and stuff that I also had at the East County building office. And so that's all done. And I want to provide Commissioner-elect Nafisa Faye with an opportunity to take a look at what I've done in those offices and to tell her about what I have left there, which is a fair amount of stuff, and talk a little bit about what I've left and what I didn't. Just for informational purposes, I just wanted the board to be aware that I will continue to be independent of my time on the County Board of Commissioners on the Five Oaks Museum Board until May or June of 2021, so another 5 or 6 months from now. And I'm serving on that board along with Commissioner-elect Nafisa Faye, and I'm anticipating that maybe I'd like to be part of a report to the board about the progress of the Five Oaks Museum sometime maybe in the winter or spring. Are you still hearing me? Can you still see me?
Yep.
Okay. Those are the sort of administrative sort of loose ends I'm going to try to finish out mostly by the end of this year into my time. I just wanted to thank everyone for the really heartfelt and wonderful, well-organized retirement send-off for me last Thursday. And thank you in particular, Roy, for doing such a nice job of emceeing that. And thanks to the staff that helped put that all together. It's really been great working for the county these past 20 years. And I think this board has really helped collectively over the years, all the different boards help guide the county forward from where we were, county 430,000, now we're up to 610,000, dynamic, great county. When I think about the things that we've done, the multimodal transportation that we have really progressed towards, the green spaces and parks and trails that have been added, a huge uptick in what we're doing with regarding to affordable housing and affordable housing portfolio. I think we have the best sheriff's office in Oregon. We've got a world-class county operation and a world-class water supply and quality agent in Clean Water Services, and the low is on the move. And so I wanted to thank this board and past boards. I appreciate Tanya's very speedy getting up and ramping up and doing a great job as our new CEO, and thinking back to Bob Davis and Charlie Cameron that I had worked with during my 20 years. This present board, I think, can take some real credit for really upgrading our government relations, department and efforts. Have really upped our game with respect to citizen involvement with our budget and significant steps forward regarding diversity, inclusion, and equity, and overseeing the overdue charter changes for full-time commission salaries and the end of the ordinance season limitations. So I want to thank my colleagues, and I think about what happened yesterday in Salem and what happened at the Capitol building and what happened in downtown Portland this summer. And I just hearken that we just remember our Constitution and what a great document it is and what a great system we have here. We need to think about peaceful reforms and changes, respect our wonderful Constitution and our present form of government. And the importance of that and the value of that has really, I think, come home to all of us in this last couple of years. I appreciate the peaceful transfer of power, and I'm looking forward to your new board and to you working well with Commissioner-elect Nafisa Faye. Try to squeeze all that in a couple of minutes here. Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you for being a great colleague, Dick. Really appreciate it. You've done well to help ensure that there's continuity in serving your district as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And you've made your contributions the last couple of years, Chair. I think the work that you've done with the diversity, equity, inclusion, and the more transparent budget system, I think, are steps forward, along with the good work that was done prior to your coming as well. So thank you.
Well, I do hope that the world will be vaccinated sooner rather than later, and
yes,
that you and your family will be able to explore and spend time on your boat on lakes and rivers, and that you'll be able to continue to explore the globe in your travels and just have a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Anything else for updates?
Maybe one update. Oh, okay, go ahead. I'll jump in. Go ahead. Dick, it's been a pleasure. I said that multiple times, and please don't make yourself a stranger. I hope we cross paths many, many times. A little levity. When you say you cleaned out your office, did you have 5 people and a bulldozer? I mean, you had a lot of stuff in there. So,
I did it over 3 or 4 afternoons and mornings. So I just finished up yesterday. It was a 3 or 4 day process.
a little bit of comment that I made at JPAC that you might all be interested in. That you've heard of orphan highways, you've heard of the jurisdictional transfers, you've heard of all that sort of thing, and there are 3 particular projects in our area that I made comment on. One of them of interest to maybe all of you is TV Highway.
Yes.
So though we remain interested, and I said that unless there's a significant infusion of money, that's just way too massive a cost project for us to say we will willingly take that project on. I think that I think that's the line we probably should have. In regard to Hall Boulevard, particularly in the Tigard area, they're more than willing to look at that. They don't have the cash either. I mean, it's a big project, but they're encouraged, and we should support that as long as they're willing to take it. If they said they won't, then obviously we don't have a role. And the last one is 99W through Tigard. There is yet to be a jurisdiction down here that says that would be a great road to take on. You got everybody from Sherwood to King City to Tigard to Walton saying there's no way that shouldn't be a state facility. So our comment on that, or my comment is that none of the jurisdictions are asking to pick that up, and including us, so that though we understand that it would be a nice transfer from the state, there isn't any interest at this time. There's no money and no interest. So anyway, that was JPAC last Thursday. So that's all I have.
Well, I'll try and be brief, and yeah, I want to echo the comments of everybody else about your going away party, Dick. It was great, and it was interesting to hear all the different perspectives. It's been I've enjoyed the 2 years that I've got to work with you directly here, and it's been good. So yeah, we'll miss you, but like Roy says, I don't think we're going to let you go too far.
Thank you.
Chair Harrington, thank you very much for spending an hour with the JCPAC group on Friday. They very much appreciated you taking time out of your busy calendar and just hearing your interaction, things like that. Obviously, a group of very talented and committed people on that committee. So again, thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns and certainly your perspective on a number of things. So thank you for that. The best news that I've seen for a while anyway was when we got the new outline of where the new funding, the CARES funding is coming, and that there's a $730 million allocation to rural broadband. As you all know, that's been kind of one of my second priorities over the last couple of months. And so I am following up with our GR team and how we can best access that. Tanya, I sent you an email this morning, but I probably haven't read it yet because I just sent it to you. But for Dick and Roy, I don't know if you remember, but the county commission paid for a middle mile study in 2016, 2017, and that report was issued to the commission in January of 18, and it focused on what they called rural broadband, but it was really unincorporated Washington County broadband, so they called it the middle mile. The organization that did that has also been working with the city of Hillsborough and their internet program, and so that'll be some of the next steps. I'm wondering how we can go about having another conversation with that group. Tillamook County has also commissioned a study, and so trying to feed off of that and seeing if we can use some of the CARES funding that's designated for rural broadband to be doing that. The other thing, of course, we've been working on trying to finalize some of our initial CARES money for business recovery. We've got the hotel program from money coming out of the state. We've got a utilities program working with Northwest Natural and PGE, and of course all the other cities that we're working with on just grant monies specifically to the hospitality industry. So lots of things going on there, and with the extension of deadlines now beyond December 30 for another year, it's given us a little bit of breathing room, but there are certainly some things that we are focused on and trying to get done soon, because we know that even though we've been given an extension, some of the businesses may be on the bubble for not being able to make it into January. So we're going to be trying to focus and get the money to where it absolutely needs. And then lastly is, I'm sure you've seen some of the conversations. Catherine, I thought your email regarding the new documentation required for these grants was exactly where the direction we're going. I've got a meeting with Will and Jack and John Southgate at 2:00 today, so we can go back over and refine those a little bit. But I certainly like the direction, but it's it's going to be an onerous responsibility we're putting not only on ourselves but on the cities to require some additional documentation to substantiate these grant monies that we've been given. And it's unfortunate that it comes 7 or 8 months after the money started going out, but I think we're going to try and deal with that as best we can. So stay tuned for that. But so that's primarily where I've been spending the bulk of my time over the last several months, but just kind of a couple of weeks specifically. So that's all I got.
Commissioner Willie, thank you for the update from the Economic Recovery Group. I just wanted to add that I will be speaking to the Muslim Educational Trust. Chair Harrington had recommended that I take her place there. So on December 29th, I'm going to be part of a group of speakers talking about COVID and the disproportional effect it's had on our BIPOC community. I've talked with Marnie, and we're going to be working together for some talking points, and she's going to be attending as well. So just FYI on that.
Nice.
I have one other issue, and that, Tanya, you or Jack, can you take a look? I think I picked up that the deadline of 12/31 of expenditures has been moved out with the new act that was just passed. And I know that you were, I think, Jerry, you were talking about, maybe Pam too, about new money coming in, but that's a big difference if we don't have to have that all spent by 12/31. Is that, you don't have to do it now, but at some point I'd like to know about that.
Well, I think the first of the year, we're going to need to have an overview of how do we identify the 2020 authorized dollars versus these December
Right.
2020 dollars, plus the state dollars that came through with the original CRF as well. What phraseology to use with the extension of the deadline? How does that enable us to have some more flexibility in terms of the throughput? Then we provided authorization to our CAO in November to try and ensure we got all the dollars out the door. I'm not sure I'm comfortable keeping that authorization through with these new dollars, though these new dollars aren't specifically earmarked to counties and states. So we, as far as I know, the president hasn't signed the bill yet. He's supposed to sign it today. So hopefully with the first week or so in January, we can hear from our team which end is really up and where do we go from here. So, but it is certainly nice not to be under the pressure of that December 30th deadline any longer. So, but there's still a lot of work to be done, that's for sure. I don't envy our team. So, well, sorry to swipe 20 minutes of time, but there continues to be a lot going on in the closure of this year. So without further ado, we'll move on to the item on our posted agenda with regard to the formation of the Salary Commission. And I'd like to introduce to you Steve Marsh, who is the retired Multnomah County Auditor, who has a lot of experience in running the Multnomah County audit program. And so as Ms. Angie and I put our heads together following the certification of the election results, it's like, okay, what do we do? Alan confirmed with us that in the formation of our first ever composition, we do have some time flexibility, but we want to make sure that we have a process in place that the board is comfortable with, that remains true to the charter language the voters approved. So take it away, Tanya and Mr. Marsh to lay out for us what you're recommending.
Thank you, Chair Harrington. And I just want to extend appreciation for Steve March taking our phone calls and saying yes to entering into a contract on behalf of Washington County to facilitate and lead the formation of the county's first salary commission. Steve comes to this space with expertise in this area, which is something I will say from a staff perspective, we don't have on staff, so really appreciate Steve, you working very quickly with our team, and want to recognize Sia Lindstrom and her role in helping craft this contract. So Steve, can you provide an overview of the scope of work and the process that you're recommending?
Certainly. So for the record, my name is Steve March, former Multnomah County Auditor. In that capacity, I ran 5 salary commissions over 9.5 years. So, and they evolved. And I will say, I did not immediately say yes when I got the call about this. I decided to look at the ballot language in the voters pamphlet and determined that the purpose of this salary commission was very similar to Multnomah County's, except that it focuses only on the Board of County Commissioners and the chair. Multnomah County's also dealt with the sheriff and the supplement for the district attorney. So this was a cleaner process. You have one job, basically one job or 2 job classifications to consider. And so I decided it was something, even in a, I'd say, a compressed time frame, that we could do. And so when we kind of reached agreement to that, I worked really hard with the county administrative officer and the or CEO. I always miss the title there. Anyhow, and Sia and Brenda in her office to kind of knock out what I expected our steps would be. First, of course, the first step is constituting the salary commission. And so I'll work with your Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Engagement. They will accept applications for the salary commission. The Chief Administrative Officer staff also checked with SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management, about acquiring CEUs for the volunteers that will be joining us. And so we've laid out a fairly aggressive timeline. My expectation is about this time next month, I will be before you again and recommend a panel of hopefully 5, minimum of 3, but hopefully 5 human resource professionals with compensation experience to you to be named as the salary commission. Once that occurs, the salary commission is in charge, and my duty is to facilitate their mission. So if they need information, I will work with the staff there to gather that information. I've already suggested some things that are readily available. If they want to go what I call a little farther afield and there's different ways, of course, that human resource folks approach compensation questions. Sometimes it's called, a comparative analysis, basically. So what does the same type of job get in a similar situation or county? That's always a little tricky in that no 2 counties are identical. Each county has its own unique composition and background and duties that they've taken on over the years. And so the first meeting, we will invite both the county council and the chair to kind of lay out the mission give them legal sidelines as to their boundaries as a public entity and our public meeting laws. And then the chairs promised to share a little bit about what Washington County does these days. And I've also asked to find when the original salary things were put in. I suspect the county was much smaller then, and the job was much different than it is now. So the human resource professionals will meet. I'm hoping for at least a minimum of once every 2 weeks. If they want to meet sooner, our work will get done relatively quick, I believe. I mean, the good thing is it's not herding cats. You're herding professionals, and they are they know their field and they know how to go about it. So we hope that I'm able to get maybe someone who's been involved in that process before. When I was with Multnomah County, we selected people from all over the area. So we had some private sector and some public sector. So if I could find one of those that would like to do it again, that would be helpful, because having two voices of experiences would be great. So that's the other thing that I'll provide is some view on what prior salary commissions have done. Is it the comparative analysis? Is it based on workload? Has workload changed at the county? And it appears from that the voters have decided, yet the job is different now, and we want a salary commission to take up that question and determine what the salary should be. As elected officials, having been one, we're not on a 40-hour-a-week job, so we don't get benefits such as sick leave. At least I didn't at the county or at the state. No sick leave, no vacation time. You can't accrue any of those kind of things. So those kind of benefits that normally would accrue to an employee aren't comparable. And you're responsible for your own time. But you do get, generally, like in Multnomah County, we got the same benefits as any other county employee, except for those kinds of things, sick leave, vacation, et cetera. So that's one of the reasons I always caution against comparative to other jurisdictions. I mean, how is Washington different than Oregon? And so I had a couple of salary commissions want to go that way, and we explored it, and they decided that it was better to look at Oregon for one, and to look, eventually they moved to an internal baseline of comparative to the other executive level positions within Multnomah County. But that's not necessarily, I mean, this is going to be up to the salary commission. So after that first meeting, I expect that they would probably like to invite some of you, both current and maybe former, to come and talk about the evolution of the job. Commissioner Rogers, you've been here, I think, the longest. I believe I was on a nonprofit and a youth program in Washington County, and I believe we testified once before you. But that was in the late 90s, so or early 90s. I'm sorry, late 80s, early 90s. Anyhow, so I think your perspective, for example, and Dick, you're just going off, and you've been here a while, so I think that kind of information the Salary Commission would benefit for, particularly since this is all new and they're coming into this and not knowing the history of any of this for the most part. We hopefully will have some people from Washington County, and I expect to maybe pick up a couple of professionals from outside the county. For example, maybe someone from Clackamas County, similar jurisdiction, not identical, but with experience. We make, at the end of this process, based on sort of how well it went, how many people did we get applying to be on the Salary Commission, and whether it would warrant a new look at this. And do you want them to be human resource professionals only from Washington County? The ballot measure did not call for that. It called for human resource professionals. So for this first go around, I'm taking the broad view of that. I know it's a little different than most boards and commissions, but this kind of work isn't geographically bound. I mean, you're not making recommendations on land use, that sort of thing. So it's a little different this first time. I think at the end, we'll debrief and we'll have some recommendations for you at the very end going forward. We plan to meet every 2 weeks, and as I said, and we hope to be able to come up with a plan by the end of April. That's our golden target date, and no later than June, of course. So that keep it within the current fiscal year. And by doing earlier, if we can get done in April, there's plenty of time for any last minute adjustments needed in your budget going forward for next year. So we're keeping that in the back of my mind. So at this point, anybody have any questions? Because I kind of bounced around, but a lot of it is the work done in the middle by these professionals. And so I can't describe it yet because they haven't done it yet. I can describe what's happened in our county commission, salary commission. So please.
And I just want to highlight for commissioners that there is a timeline that is, I believe, in the last page of our packet.
A couple of comments, Steve. I would say it's been a long time. Good to see you, and thank you for taking on the task. After all of the wars you've been through, I would think that you didn't need one more, but I appreciate you doing it. Not that it's a war, just a lot of work.
Right.
I would hope that in your comment about the expansion to other areas, I would hope that everybody would agree to that. I think that being so myopic that you only look at one county is probably not right. So I totally agree with that. And I would hope you might consider also a professional from the private sector or two. That it wouldn't be just government people. So again, thank you for doing it. It's a lot of work.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. If I can be of any help, I won't be offended if I'm not contacted, but I'd be happy to help if I am contacted. Just wondering, Steve, would you possibly be looking also at a couple of the larger counties outside of the immediate metro areas, such as Marion County or Lane County or Jackson County as a help to us as well?
Possibly. They're both, of course, much smaller. Relatively. I mean, you're at 620,000 people right now. And so I've kind of scanned through populations, for example, in Washington state. Now there is some different compensation structures and different rules for Washington state, but there are, Snohomish County, for example, might be something to look at. Finding one, we have to, how big is the size of the county going to make relative to the work level? And so I would say something on, a couple 100,000 on either side of your 600. So Lane, I certainly, and they're next. And Marion is close. So, but actually, I think Spokane County is pretty close. It's like 590, I think, is what I ran across. So, we'll certainly, I will open all those avenues to the salary commission for, should they want to look at them. Back to Commissioner Rogers' comment about a private sector. We at Multnomah County, we always had a couple of private sector folks, private or non-profit sector. For example, someone from a hospital and it's always interesting for you get somebody who hasn't been in government that much or involved in government, and they do bring a different perspective, and I think it's very good. One thing I will say, and I don't know, maybe at the end, any other questions or issues?
Commissioner Treese or Commissioner Willie? Segueing off of what the points that Commissioner Rogers and Commissioner Scouten were making, I had done, as part of our considering putting this item on the ballot, I had done research on various counties, and Multnomah, Clackamas, Lane, and Marion counties are the 4 counties that I had looked into, and particularly Multnomah and Clackamas had the easiest to find research on their comparators. And those 4 counties were referred to in multiple salary commissions or their equivalent names in doing that work. I am right there along with my colleagues in wanting a mix of representation. But as you say, the fundamental aspect of this is that HR compensation experience that we wrote into the charter change proposal. So I look forward to seeing the slate. I know Eva Labonte also provided information on the different groups that we might share these positions with, so that we can harvest some good and interested folks. And thank you so much for working on the SHRM continuing education credits. That's really useful.
Well, so I wanted to read you something that I'd put in my original draft scope. I come at this with a lot of years of both state and local government experience, and being an auditor, I have been highly aware of ethical issues. I've even taught auditors ethics. So, and I taught a ethics class to when we got 3 brand new commissioners at Multnomah County. So what I'd said at the bottom of my scope was the contractor, myself, does not have any conflicts of interest in this work, does not have any personal or any member of the contractor's household or immediate family have any business or personal ties to the county chair, commissioners, county administrator, or CAO staff. The work of the salary commission shall be independent of the contractor, the CAO staff, chair, or commissioners. And any attempt by those who are not on the salary commission to unduly influence the decisions of the salary commission will be reported to the appropriate authority. So I'm making that statement to you to let you know this will be a very clean and above board process, and we'll work very hard to ensure they have a free hand at coming up with the best product available.
Towards that end, as I looked at the timeline that was in our packet, on the 3rd from the bottom, final report presented to Board of Commissioners. Since this really, the Salary Commission makes the determination, often I appreciated in my years on the Metro Council that particularly ballot oversight committees were reporting to the public via the council's meeting. So I'm totally open to that, saying final report published to the public at the board meeting and, websites, whatever, to really make the point clear that
It's not your decision.
exactly. Yeah. They're doing this work for the public.
It got to the point with the Multnomah County Salary Commission that the Board of Commissioners said, just send us the report. You don't need to, so I would, of course, we'd release it to the public, but we did not make an appearance, or if we did, it would be on one of the work session days where, there's no actions taken. So it's
well, Mike, I don't know if I've shared this with my colleagues, but there were really very clear goals that I had in seeking assistance for this, that the process is transparent and credible. And through discussions with Ms. Angie, she also suggested and impressed upon me that it be objective. And so I am all bought into that. And I just want to make sure that since this is the first formative year, that we've provided that empowerment and ownership, shared, provided the visibility resources so that as in completing its work, that the Salary Commission can also provide recommendations on how we can make this even better in the subsequent years as well. So that's pretty much it from me. Anything else, Mr. Marsh?
Not that I can think of other. I can give you one recommendation now. That start earlier. I had two big trepidations. One is the short timeline, and then second was, is it only focused on the commission and chair, or does it include the rest? Because that's like doing 3 different jobs at once. So I absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you.
Other commissioner thoughts or questions on this?
I just want to say that I appreciate the work that is going forward. I understand the tight timeline, and whatever support you need, please let me know.
Yeah, and from my standpoint, Steve, I'm just looking forward to some of the job descriptions and duties of other commissioners. Specifically, I'm very aware of Spokane County because that's my previous life. That's where the neighborhood I was in, and certainly just some of the other things that the commissioners take into consideration, I guess, or was taken into consideration for their compensation package. I hadn't even thought of vacation and sick leave and those kinds of things. So coming from from my mayor days when that first started through Tom Hughes, that was like $500 a month, and Tom moved it to $2,000 a month. That's where it continues to be for Mayor Callaway right now. So this will be a whole different perspective, I guess, and a much bigger look. So I'll be looking forward to your report and what the commission comes up with.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All righty.
Nice to see you again, Steve. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So the CAO's office has crafted the contract in association with Mr. March, and then we move forward in approving the authorization on that through our agenda today, or is that an administrative thing?
The contract is an administrative process, and we're currently working through that process and confident it will be complete by the end of this calendar year. The action before you on the board meeting will be a report from County Council on the resolution and order.
Okie dokie. Alan, did you have
Yeah.
something?
Yes, I'm just going to be going through some of the, the nuts and bolts of the resolution, the order, and some of the recent changes. There's been a couple changes that not significant, but I'll certainly point out to you.
Okie dokie. So we have our meeting at 11. So I guess we'll close out this work session, or do we postpone it to then open into executive session later?
So, Madam Chair, you would just adjourn the work session. We'll take a break till 11, start the board meeting, adjourn the board meeting to open the executive session, which is a separate link for scheduled for 11:30.
And we have that link in our calendar, right?
Yes. Commissioners, you
Okay.
have that link in there. And yeah, so we will just, I'll have staff, we'll just put a recess slide up until 11 a.m.
Okay. Well, then we'll adjourn today's work session and we'll see one another at 11 o'clock. See you in the new year, Mr. March.
Thank you, guys.
No.
Are you guys there? Okay, so we just have, Dale is gonna comment at the end for 5 minutes
Okay.
and nothing at the beginning, so we should get right through the consent into the action.
Okay, I hope I'm in.
Yes, you are, Commissioner Scout.
Great, thank you.
Chair, you were on mute. Sorry, I think it's back on mute. Kevin, are you on?
Oops.
There you go.
Yeah, Commissioner Rogers was under attendees.
Yes, he should be rejoining right now.
There he is.
There, you got me in. Thank you.
All right, we have everyone. So good morning, everyone. Still morning. And I'll call the Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020 Washington County Board of Commissioners to order. Mr. Moss, our board clerk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Washington County Board of Commissioners, also meeting as the Clean Water Services Board of Directors and all other service districts, is now meeting in this regular session, December 22nd, 2020. Commissioner Willie.
Here.
Commissioner Treese.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Vice Chair Scouten.
Here.
Chair Harrington.
Here. Welcome, everyone. Mr. Moss, do we have anyone signed up for oral communication?
We do not for this point of the meeting, Madam Chair.
All righty. We have a short agenda as we had not anticipated that we would be having a meeting today, but it turns out we had some last business that needs to be attended to. I want to thank my colleagues on the commission as well as staff for your flexibility in meeting today, particularly to outgoing Commissioner Dick Scouten, our vice chair. Thank you very much. So our contents of today's agenda packet there were some changes, minor changes, no new additions or anything of that nature, but I did want to call people's attention to the different items that are on the agenda. So for the consent agenda, we have 4 items on the consent agenda. The minutes from our December 8th as well as December 15th, 2020 meetings. Then 2 items under County Administrative Office. The first is to announce the vacancy and accept public comment on the selection of new county council. And the second is authorize chair to sign amendment to the agreement for the county council. I just want to check first, though, Mr. Moss, for our second period of oral communication, has any person signed up and have they indicated if they wish to speak to the items for county council?
We have one person signed up and I see a raised hand from the individual, so I would presume that they would want to speak on that matter as well.
All righty. So Mr. Rapplier and colleagues, would it be okay if we provide for the 5-minute period of oral comment now in the front end of the meeting so that we can hear that as part of our public comment for the item on the consent agenda that calls for public comment?
Absolutely. The board has complete discretion on how they want to do that. So.
Do I see head shakes and thumbs up? Yes. Okay, great. So why don't we move to 5-minute oral communications?
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. We have Mr. Dale Feek. Dale, can you hear us?
I can, Kevin. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead for up to 5 minutes.
is this also for the county council, or is it just for my signed up 5 minutes?
It's for everything. We've just advanced the second oral communication up to the front end of the meeting.
I appreciate that because I'm scheduled to go golfing, and I scheduled after I realized that the time had been changed. So I appreciate you having me go first. So 3 things then. I have 2. I'm Dale Feek, chair of the Washington County Citizen Action Network, a coalition of grassroots and advocates. Grassroots advocates dedicated to improving the quality of life in Washington County by promoting 1, healthy and sustainable communities, 2, social and economic justice, and 3, open and responsive government. So I'll do my first comment about council, and then the second one has to do with an email I sent you early this morning having to do with PFAS chemicals in a conversation I had and participated in with the Intel Air Quality Advisory Committee meeting. And the third thing has to do with the retirement, no, the goodbye, not retirement, goodbye of Commissioner Dick Scouten. First, County Council. I really appreciate you, Alan Rapulé, sending me the was confidential but not confidential anymore statements that you sent to the county about your statements about hiring and the process of hiring a county council. I also consider that extremely important. And I appreciate you doing due diligence, seeking the best qualified person, not only within Washington County, within Oregon, and within the region and nationally. It's very important to have a counselor, an attorney that's committed to public service and to helping people, citizens, residents, and you as commissioners and staff have the best legal advice possible to protect you and to protect the county and whatever it stands for based upon your mission. That's number 1. Number 2 is I appreciate being allowed to listen in and make chat comments during your MCing, Commissioner Roy Rogers, of Dick Scouten's goodbye meeting. I made, I think, 3 separate comments during that time, and I summarized as best I could what was there and sent it to you and to you, Dick Scouten. And I particularly liked, Commissioner Rogers, your concluding remarks about how you and Commissioner Scouten truly served the county as nonpartisan public servants, having it at times opposing political points of view. And I think that you said, Commissioner Rogers, a middle of the road conservative you are, and Commissioner Scouten, a liberal progressive. But each of you willing to listen to each other, see opposing viewpoints, and come to common ground most of the time. Common ground that has beneficial to the people of Washington County and beneficial to the social and environmental health, air, water, soil of Washington County. Of course, all the people who spoke, all current commissioners and former commissioners, elected and non-elected county staff and others commented about your Commissioner Scouten's 20 years of service were much appreciated. So thank you, Commissioner Roy Rogers, for being so skilled as an MC and a Toastmasters for that goodbye to you, Dick Scouten. But I know you're going to be around a long time. The third thing has to do with.
Thank you, Dale.
You're welcome, and I appreciate knowing you, and I know I'll be talking with you and your wife in more detail later. So I appreciate your service. I have about a minute and 20 seconds left. So the email that I sent to you this morning had to do with my participating in the Intel Air Quality Advisory Committee meeting that's chaired by Intel. I was a member of that group for a couple of years. I resigned because I disagreed with the way they do business, but I still go and listen and are allowed to make public comment and ask questions. And so what I sent to you was some quotes, in essence, from the head environmental engineer, one of 3 people that sit on that committee. That's Stephanie Shanley. And so she made some statements about the perpolyfluorinated substances, the forever chemicals that are in 98% of our bodies. And so please take a look what I emailed to you, take a look at the attachments. And I appreciate what Bob Baumgartner and Clean Water Services doing to hold Intel accountable for the emissions, the perpolyfluorinated, the PFAS chemicals. But you have to be aware, you can never get rid of them. There are 4,000 of them. And just because they're getting rid of one doesn't mean they're going to have another, because Intel demands they have to use those chemicals for their manufacturing. So please take a look at the email I sent you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Feek, and I can confirm that we have received your information by email. Thank you. Mr. Moss, is there anyone signed up?
We do not have anyone else signed up, Madam Chair.
All right, so I have at this point read out what the consent agenda consists of. What are the wishes of the board with regard to the consent agenda?
Move to
Move for
accept.
approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, please vote by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, colleagues. Next, we move on to the action items. We have one action item today to consider the Salary Commission formation and open member recruitment. We just had a presentation on this from the consultant. Do we have a staff report on this?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board. Initially, I wanted to thank you for approving extending my contract, and we'll work to get a new replacement as soon as we can. So we're talking about the Salary Commission. As you know, last November, the voters overwhelmingly passed the amendment to the charter to approve a Salary Commission. As you know, the charter is a broad policy document. It has very basic terms. And so we are filling in some of those details through the resolution and order that is before you today. And as the charter amendment itself and this resolution is structured to be as independent and as neutral as possible in establishing the commissioner's salary. As you know, the Salary Commission has ultimate authority to set your salaries, either raise them or lower them from what they are today. And they will get to make that final decision on that. And so working with the county administrator and members of the board, we structured this R&O to have the independent consultant, Steve Marks, which you just heard from, who was a great selection because of his vast experience. And he will obtain the salary commissioner members, and again, the board will impanel them. Pardon me. And so I provided that resolution order a while ago, but there's been some changes to that. I've worked with the county administrator, worked with the chair, and most recently with Commissioner Rogers to sort of clean up and to strengthen that resolution order. So if I just may bear with me for a minute while I go through those. Initially, as the recitals have the whole citation of the amendment from to the charter, and then we go into the second paragraph. One of the things that was changed there, the second paragraph of the resolved and order, is that they shall, the commissioners have to have management level, the salary commissioners have to have management level experience in setting salaries. That's been a change. And the third level is that, again, we clarified in the third resolved and order that is to contract the independent consultant for the creation of the Salary Commission. And the fourth resolution order, the change there is that we added, it says a salary commissioner cannot be a family member, related party, married, or member of the household. The most recent change is we added related party after talking to Commissioner Rogers. That is a term of art that's used in tax law that basically means a business associate or business partner. So again, we're making sure that the salary commissioner has no relation to the commissioners. And as you heard from Mr. March, he is going to be keeping a very close eye on that and making sure that there's no undue influence. And so then the final change was in the fifth R&O, and this was the most recent one we made, is that it's just to clarify that this salary commission convenes once every 2 years, and they set the salary for a 2-year period. So that is how the resolution is going to work. And also, as you heard from Mr. March, it's our new commission, and we're setting this R&O up as best we can for success, but we expect to have some lessons learned, and we can come back and amend this resolution order, or if necessary, adopt an ordinance that provides additional structure to this commission. So I'm open for any questions.
Commissioners,
Okay.
do you have any questions? I am just looking because I double checked during the break to make sure I had eyes on the final, and I downloaded the packet this morning, and I don't see the point where you were raising the 2 years.
Let's see.
Do you know what line that's on?
Yes.
What number do
I just saw it. Let's see. Well, maybe it was on the one let's see. I did see it.
Because I'm looking at the one that I downloaded this morning, and I'm downloading it again right now.
Okay, here it is. It's on line 11 and page, it's the second page of the resolution order, and it says that salary commission has discretion to set the final salaries of the board until the next salary commission convenes.
Yes,
So they
of
set
course.
it, and then it goes to
Yes.
the next salary commission.
Yes,
So-
because what the voters approved talked about, it enumerates
2
that.
years.
So what you have is something that's consistent with that. Got it.
Right.
So it's not adding any words like as you did on line 9 where you added related party, and on line 2 where you added management level compensation design experience.
Right, and that's within the board's discretion to, fill in the details of the broad policy level document.
Yeah, so really you've only made those 2 changes.
Yes.
Okay. All righty, perfect. Great. So there aren't any other questions from the commission. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the attached resolution and order authorizing the creation of a salary commission, announcing the 5 salary commission vacancy with 2-year terms through December 31st, 2022, and authorize recruitment of applicants for 3 weeks through January 12th, 2021, or until all the positions are filled. And as summarized in oral statements today, we just heard from County Council.
Second.
The one thing I'm just checking is the timeline that we went over in our meeting earlier, I think well, I'll go back and look at it. Never mind. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any commission comments before we vote?
I didn't hear a second. Did we get a second?
From Commissioner
Oh, okay,
Treese.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. We've already taken care of our second oral communication section. At this point, board announcements. I will start it off with announcing the slate of meetings that are enumerated in our packet. We will start on Tuesday, January 5th with a swearing in of our returning commission colleague, Commissioner Roy Rogers, as well as our returning county sheriff, and then our newest member of the commission, Nafisa Fai, starting at 8:30 on Tuesday, January 5th. We'll then proceed through our work session and our board meeting that morning and into the afternoon. We have a roundtable on Thursday, January 7th. On Tuesday, the 12th, we have a full work session. Then on Tuesday, the 19th, which is after the Martin Luther King holiday on Monday, we have a set of meetings, as well as on Tuesday, January 26th, we'll have our work session in the afternoon and then a board meeting in the evening. I'd like to turn it over to my colleagues for any communication at this point.
I just wish everybody happy holidays, but Chair, would you remind the public who might be viewing this or looking at it later, which of those meetings are virtual and which are in person?
They are all virtual.
Thank you.
Yes, we are still in virtual mode, and I expect that we will remain in virtual mode until the county moves out of extreme risk, the extreme risk category, let alone into the lower levels. So I don't know about you, but I look forward to being vaccinated sometime in 2021. But in the meantime, I will continue to wear a mask, wash my hands frequently, and socially distance.
Well, I think I said most of what I wanted to say in my last appearance here today. I wish everyone happy holidays. I hope that 2021 is a much better year in the whole than 2020. I hope to enjoy myself, and I hope that you all will have a great time, as I hope to as well. So thank you all.
Well, I was pausing there. Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Treese.
Well, I just want to say happy holidays to everybody. Please be safe. And I echo the advice that Chair Harrington sent. And I just want to say again to Commissioner Scouten, thank you. And I look forward to hearing from Captain Scouten on his new vessel.
Admiral.
Okay.
Hopefully not Admiral Wrongway Peach Fuzz going back years ago to Bullwinkle Moose.
Well, so I want to say thank you to my colleagues for being the best commission that I could have imagined, coping and living through a global pandemic together. And that includes to our leadership team and all of Washington County staff. And I particularly want to extend a sincere thanks to Commissioner Dick Scouten for his 20 years of service to us all in our community, but particularly in this last challenging period of these 10 months for really helping us navigate through the science and ensure that we're making good policy decisions for all of us here in Washington County in our role as the Board of Commission, as well as Board of Directors for Clean Water Services. Thank you. Thank you again. I wish you the best. I hope that you and all of your family members can be vaccinated soon so that you can get moving about freely about the country and the globe.
Thank you.
And thank you for your participation and that of your family in the wonderful occasion last Thursday. That was really wonderful. And thank you, Commissioner Willie, for wearing your best holiday attire today. I really appreciate it.
Well, I could say that's in honor of Diane Taniguchi Dennis's heritage, you know, a little Hawaiian flair for her to send her back home a little bit, but because that's where I bought this many years ago. But so anyway, yeah, it's fun. You don't get to wear this shirt very often, so you got to take the opportunity.
There you go.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, thank you again, Commissioner Scouten and colleagues, for joining us in a otherwise not quite expected December 22nd, 2020 meeting today. I do realize that I neglected to allow for leadership staff communication during our short work session today, and just wanted to check in with all three of our leaders to see if there's anything you wanted to close out this year with.
Harrington, members of the commission, once again, Commissioner Scouten, congratulations and thank you for your service. I just want to end this year sharing appreciation for the staff across Washington County, especially our 24/7 operations that are working through this holiday season. I also want to underscore the great work county staff have done to ensure that our staff are safe, and that we are currently working on various redeployment efforts across the county to ensure that safety continues moving forward, and appreciate the board's support in our county operations, because not only do we need to protect public health, we need to also protect our employees. I will also share a data point, and this is a positive turn of events. We do have reduced case numbers of employees. I will say we still have 9 employees that are positive and 15 that are quarantined, but this is much lower of an experience rate than we've seen over the last few years. So I appreciate Chair Harrington's sentiment. Please wear a mask. Please wash your hands and socially distance so that we can also protect our workforce.
Mr. Rapplier, anything?
I'll just to say happy holidays, and you have a good new year.
We'll see you in the new year. Ms. Taniguchi Dennis, how about you?
Thank you, Chair Harrington, and to the Board of Clean Water Services. We just want to say happy holidays to each and every one of you, and to thank you all for such a great year and being supportive of the district's needs and the employees while we continue to deliver day after day what we needed to do. And Commissioner Scouten, we're going to miss you very deeply. So I want to say thank you for all of these years and the service and the great fun we had with Clean Water Services and you. We're at a great point at Clean Water Services. We have no new cases and we have 100% of people back in service. So I do want to thank all the employees who will be here over the holidays working at the treatment plants and taking samples, and also in field operations. So we look really good right now. I did want to let you know that the Fano pump station, the new pump station that BES has, is having some pumping problems, but so far it hasn't impacted us. Their old pump station is also operational, so they've been using that pump station, but we're there and ready and monitoring and coordinating with them. So far things look good. I hope this rain stops as planned, so we should look good going into the holidays. But thank you, everyone. And we look forward to speaking with you at the executive session. Happy holidays.
It's been such fun being on the board of directors for Clean Water Services, and nothing else. I'd like to think that we've been smart enough to stay out of your way and the staff's way to get the good work done. Thanks.
Thanks, Dick.
Commissioner Scouten, would you do us the honor of making a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Can I overrule that? I want to overrule that. What we have a long-standing tradition of doing is adjourning on this meeting on behalf of the long and very successful practice of Commissioner Scouten and all of his activities. So I would propose that we adjourn in memory of all of Commissioner Scouten's activities, all of his contributions, and that we direct Clerk Moss to indicate that in the minutes and send Commissioner Scouten a copy of those minutes so he can either frame that or memorialize it however he wants in his house, but it'll be his last meeting. So Dick, I'm sorry to do that, and Chair, but I think it's nice if somebody asks that be done on your behalf.
Sounds wonderful. I was not familiar with that tradition. And who would like to second that?
I would. be.
Seconded by Commissioner Treese. That's wonderful.
Thank you, Chair Harrington.
Thank you, Commissioner Scouten.
Thank you, Chair Harrington. Thank you, Chair Treese. Thank you, Commissioner Treese. Thank you, Chair Harrington. 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 Thank you,
All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you. So we will now adjourn this meeting, and we each have a link for an executive session, and then we'll have a motion there.
Great.
See you all in 2021. Bye-bye.